My research is on the works of Zitkala Shaw, an early 20th century Sioux writer who was also known as Gertrude Simmons Bonin. Throughout her varied career, Zitkala Shaw published several adaptations of Indigenous legends, spoke out about issues facing her community through her political essays and autobiographical stories, and even collaborated with a non-Indigenous composer on a musical production called the Sundance Opera. My initial inspiration to study Zitkala Shaw's work came from a posthumous collection called Dreams and Thunder, edited by Taos Pueblo scholar P. Jane Hoffen. In it, Hoffen analyzes two different versions of the same story, one translated from Zitkala Shaw's personal notes in Dakota, and another in English that changes some details of the plot. Hoffen writes that in the altered English version, Zitkala Shaw softened some of the sexual and physical threat and removed some of the verbal cues that indicate the oral nature of the story. When I first read this, I was fascinated with this insight into the creative processes of an Indigenous woman who was struggling to succeed as a professional writer in the face of prejudice and discrimination. It shows that Zitkala Shaw was making difficult decisions about which aspects of her culture's traditional stories might be more palatable to the non-Indigenous members of her audience, and which would risk making her work too different from the hegemonic norm to gain recognition. The rhetorical strategies she used in these cases allowed her to cross Indigenous settler divides and reach a wider audience with her work. In taking up this research topic as a non-Indigenous scholar, I am also attempting to cross Indigenous settler divides in my research and analysis. Since I first encountered Dreams and Thunder, I've been working to inform myself about Indigenous histories and research methodologies, as well as about other Indigenous writers, in order to better contextualize my understanding of Zitkala Shaw's writing. I plan to probe into her creative processes further through analysis of any difference between different versions of her stories that are published, and through explorations of archives containing her personal writing. I also plan to explore Zitkala Shaw's legacy through analysis of contemporary recreations of her. For instance, Wampanoag actor Michelle St. John portrayed Zitkala Shaw after extensive research in the Turtle Gals Performance Ensemble's 2007 play The Only Good Indian. Studying texts like these will help me figure out what relevance and importance Zitkala Shaw's work still has today, and how her strategies for crossing Indigenous settler divides may have contributed. I hope that my explorations of Zitkala Shaw's work can learn from Indigenous women writers, especially in terms of lessons about the making of non-Indigenous allies then and now. Thank you.